Today, we're gonna make another item for my Minecraft item frame, and I am so excited for you guys to see the result because it turns out so cool. Hey, it's me, Celyn, and welcome back to my channel. So, from the intro of the video, you guys know exactly what we're doing today. We are going to be making a new item for this item frame. I have a whole series on like my shorts content and my TikTok content and Instagram where I make Minecraft items for the item frame, and we have a bunch now, but today I thought I'd do a whole video making a different item, and I'm excited about it because I've never done like an in-depth painting of one of these. It's usually like short and snappy. So yeah, today we are going to be making the golden apple. I'm so excited about it, so let's get into it. Okay, so step number one is basically laser cutting my apple out of wood, and I actually had to do this by downloading a picture of the apple to begin with, and I had to turn it into two files that I could use in my Xtool software. The first file is basically just the shape of the apple, and I colored that in completely black so that I'm able to trace it in Xtool. And then the second file is basically just a grid of all the pixels on the apple, which is such a lifesaver because I'm going to engrave that onto the wood, and it's going to be so easy to like see where all the pixels are. But yeah, once I had those two files, I basically saved them and then I put them into Xtool, and I started making them into the right format so that I can cut the shape of the apple but also engrave the grid onto it. It looks like it's taking me a really long time to do this in this video, but it actually took me about 5 minutes just to get it all onto Xtool. And then once I'd done that, I pretty much just clicked go and I started cutting out the shape of my apple, and I love this bit. It is so satisfying to watch. Anyway, I just grabbed my plywood and then I put it into my machine and I just hit go pretty much, and then you just have to wait a couple minutes for it to cut out and engrave. I did it both at the same time, so it was basically just sit back, relax, make sure it doesn't catch on fire. I feel like there are so many cool things I could use this for, but I literally only really use it to cut out these Minecraft shapes, and I am so okay with that. But I actually experimented with like making a stamp recently, and that turned out so cool. So if you want to see me use this to try and make something else, let me know, because there are so many possibilities. Anyway, I don't know how I did this, but I didn't end up having my settings right, so the engraving looks really good, but it didn't actually cut all the way through the wood, so I'm gonna set up another one and see if this one goes better. I ended up just using a different corner of the same piece of plywood, and I just changed my settings a little bit so that it cut a little bit slower. I left the engraving exactly the same though. This did end up taking a little bit longer, but honestly about 5 minutes to do the whole process, and then once it was done cutting out, it looked so good and it came out really easily. So yeah, that was a perfect cut. So now that I have the shape of my apple, it is time to start painting. For this kind of project, I like to use acrylic paints because they sort of dry really quickly and they also have a really good finish. I'm actually using precise paints and I'm using some Arteza ones, and I like both of them loads, so I mix them together usually. For this painting in particular, I mostly just needed yellows, oranges, a couple of reds and a couple of browns, but I'm actually starting with the lightest colors to begin with, so I mixed together like this off-white, which was basically just yellow and white together. I had to do a couple of coats of this color because it was quite transparent, and honestly, that is going to be a thing that I'm saying all the way through this video because working with yellow paint is the hardest thing ever. I have no idea what it is about yellow paint that makes it so transparent. I've tried so many different brands, but they're all the same, and I've had so many really good suggestions from you guys on how to improve this, but I haven't really tried any of them yet. I was going to try a couple of the suggestions today, but I didn't end up trying them because I didn't think it was going to work for today's project. One of the suggestions was adding a bit of white to the yellow, but I tried that and then I wasn't getting like the right yellow that I needed for the apple. And then the second suggestion was painting the base with gesso, but I didn't want to do that either because it would cover up my grid, and my grid is very valuable. Anyway, once I was done with those off-white pixels, I moved towards the yellow pixels, and I'm basically working from light to dark. So the next color after the yellow was mustard, and for some reason this color was kind of transparent too, so I ended up doing like 2 or 3 coats of this one, I think. I often get asked by you guys how I know what color each pixel is, and I basically just have a reference picture that I sometimes just look at and eyeball, so yeah, that's not very helpful. The other thing I sometimes do is import the picture that I'm using into Procreate, and then I basically just use like a color picker to pick each of the colors individually, which does take a really long time, but it's so worth it because then the colors are super accurate. Anyway, as you can see, I'm moving on to the next color, which is like a sort of dark mustard, and this one was definitely getting easier to work with. The darker we go, the less opaque they are, which is always really helpful. I didn't realize this at the time, but this is actually like the majority of the color of the apple, which is kind of mind-blowing because I think of the apple as being yellow, but this is actually more of an orange. I have no clue why, but I wasn't working very precisely today, today. I ended up just doing these really wide strokes, which meant that I had to repaint so many of the pixels, but it's okay because it worked out fine. And as you can also see, I also messed up in this top corner, so I'm painting over that. I mentioned at the beginning that I'd be using red, but I also didn't realize that the apple had any red on it at all. It's so funny like breaking it down into pixels and seeing like how many colors are actually made to make it look like a real apple. So yeah, here I am painting all of the red pixels. This is where it gets really satisfying because these colors were so easy to work with. It was like such a dream compared to working with the yellow. Once I was done with the bright reds, I then had like these darker, deeper reds, which were more like browns or kind of burgundies, I guess. I didn't have that many of this color to paint, so once I was done with those, I moved on to the final color, which was like an even darker browny red, and this was so satisfying. I just love the darker colors so much. They apply so smooth and glossy. I ended up doing a couple close-up shots of this as well for you guys to see how smooth it was applying, but it wasn't all that aesthetic because it ended up going over the edge and looking unaesthetic, but it's okay. I just finished up by painting those last couple of pixels, which was very satisfying, and it was amazing seeing it all come together. And here is my completed golden apple. I am in love with it. I think it turned out so cute. I love that it's kind of glossy as well. It kind of shines like a golden apple. But anyway, all I had to do then was just apply some Velcro to the back. I'm actually using the spiky side because I've got like the soft side on my item frame. I just cut a little square or rectangle of this and stuck it to the back of the apple, and then it was pretty much ready to go in the item frame. So I took out the diamond that I previously did in a short video, and then I put the apple in, and it looks so good. I ended up putting the diamond in the chest with all the other items. If you've not seen me make this chest, it's actually in a short video, but I've never done a long form video on it. So if you want that as well, I can also do that. Here is the apple in all its glory. I think it turned out so cute, and I can't wait to make another item. And here is the golden apple. I am obsessed. I think this one turned out really, really cool. I absolutely love it. And as I mentioned, working with yellow paint is always such a pain, but I am so pleased with the results considering. Obviously, this was a longer video making one of these today, and if you want to see me make more, if you want like a more in-depth tutorial, let me know. And also, if you have any suggestions for what item we should make next, let me know, because there are so many now that I just can't pick. But I think this one is so cute. I'm so excited to add it to my collection. And yes, I know you guys hate the way that the chest opens, but it was the best that I could do. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this format of video, the longer form painting of Minecraft items, let me know because I would love to do more. I can also do some more in-depth videos on the flowers or like the sign and things like that. I have done them in the past too, but I can do more. So thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe because it really helps me out, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye! I'm so excited to do more.